Yo, what is up, everybody? Back again. Y'all already know what
Nail,
it is.
play that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man, this man got the background.
You already know, man. Get that money, man. Get that money. Take to the house. Ain't no easy money. Easy money. Well, it should be easy money, but like
Look,
I
knock
said,
on wood.
Look at the rookies we drafted. We got Dean and we got Davis. Two from Florida. It doesn't get better than that shit.
yeah, put that shit up.
As Ricky Bobby said, if you ain't first,
You're
you're last.
Exactly.
Second place is at 2.
Definitely gonna make up for it.
Trust me. I need a sports podcast, man. I need it. Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the I Need a Sports podcast. Your host with the most, myself, Bryce, Dog, Cam, Swan, Chris. Back in action for the NBA Round 2 playoffs recap. If you're looking at my screen and like, that don't look like the usual background, it's because it's not. We had some technical difficulties at the Lovejoy household, so had to make a few alterations. We in the game room with it, but the podcast must go on because y'all gonna get this podcast at the end of the day. Round 2 officially wrapped up yesterday. Couple of game sevens where the away team won both games, which was crazy. I think first in NBA history. So we're gonna touch on those, of course, but we're gonna touch on all second round series, which means we got to touch on the matchup of the podcast. Someone won, someone lost, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. We're gonna kick it off with the most lopsided series of the second round. That was the Celtics and the Cavaliers, man. Celtics, they've been waxing everybody all season. They got to the playoffs. Besides game 2 woes, which has happened every round now, they've been waxing everybody once again. It's not always the prettiest. I know a lot of social media doesn't really like the Celtics. That's their hate team. They preying on Tatum downfall and everything. But this team got the biggest point spread or point differential for the season for a reason. They literally, it's not even games. They just beating the brakes off of everybody. So we're gonna start it off by asking, who was the biggest X factor y'all think for Boston in this series versus Cleveland? I know Derek White caught fire a little bit. He did cool off in this series, but he's had a nice little playoff run. Jaylen Brown is he's been doing his thing consistently. Tatum has been up and down, but he's also been getting all of the defensive attention, and they are doing this without Porzingis. So, who wants to kick us off first, man?
I'll go first. I was gonna say Derek White was obviously the biggest factor. I won't even say just a series. I'll say just in playoffs in general. Just seeing like pretty much he had like starting off like legacy wise and everything what he's doing, like the blocks, the points, setting up everybody. He was getting everybody involved, and also playing like great defense. I think without his scoring, and I looked at like the difference of his plus minus on and off the court. Whenever he's like having like a bad game scoring or like distributing the ball or playing defense, they lose the games or whatever. Even when they lost that one game to Cleveland, I think he was shooting horrible. So I think he's probably like the biggest factor for the entire playoffs in the series. He's like we said in the group chat, if it comes down to it, who will win like Finals MVP, he'd probably be him because of the contributions he brought. Mind you, he's on a contract year 2 because Boston didn't pick up his option, so he's playing lights out on a non-guaranteed deal. So I'll just say Derek White on my end personally.
Derek White winning the NBA Finals MVP. That would be crazy. That might. I'm trying to think.
That'd be like
No, we got the year with Iggy. I was gonna say Iggy.
That'd be like another Iggy.
Off the top of my head, I can't remember another weirder Finals MVP that would come about if it's got to be Derek White. But hey, man, cut the hair off, went bald. It's been a different Derek White ever since for this whole season. But next, Cam, Chris, who want to go next?
I'm a hater, bro. I'm gonna go.
What you got? What you got to hate on?
The biggest X factor for that series was Boston playing in the East.
Oh,
That was the
wow.
biggest X factor, bro. That was the biggest X factor, bro.
I mean,
I'm still not impressed. I'm sorry. It's just not. It's just not like. I guess, but it's kind of unfair to not be impressed, right? Because they're just so good that they
I
supposed
mean,
to be winning. So like, I'm gonna see. I'm gonna admit that I am being kind of biased. Like, it's not really real competition because they are so good, but it's not impressive. Like, I don't feel like there's been big game moments where they really had to show themselves.
well, I
So
mean, that's credit to them though, because I would say it wouldn't be impressive if it was like because the regular season they smoked everybody, and then they had the biggest point differential, like I said. But and we might as well introduce the new podcast mascot over
can
there
you
that you
wait? Can
just
you hear
bought.
her,
Yes, we can hear her.
bro?
But like I said, I don't. I would say it wouldn't be impressive if they were like winning close games or choking. But besides the game twos, like game two versus Miami, had a flop. Game two versus Cleveland, they had a flop. But every other game, they doing what they did all season, so I can't like fault them. Like, yeah, the East is weak, but it's not like they struggling. They whooping them like they supposed to be. So more props to them, and they doing it in various ways because the defenses are sending everything they got at Tatum. And you would think usually years past we see Jalen Brown playing bad. Al Horford might go cold. Drew Holiday, he's been kind of struggling to find his footing, but I mean, I feel like that's just playoff Drew Holiday at this point. But Jalen Brown's been consistent, and Derek White, he's been amazing. And like I said, they've been doing it without Kristaps Porzingis, who was one of their biggest offseason moves, if not the biggest, if you want to say Drew Holiday is, because that's another argument for another day. But I get the East is weak argument, but I'll say they have been impressive in my opinion because they've been blowing everybody out, which is what you expect. It's one thing to expect it; it's another thing to do it. So I gotta give them props on that end. What about you, Cam? Who you thinking is the X factor?
Well, for this series, I'm gonna say it was Tatum. Tatum. I feel like so far it's been Tatum or Derek White for like their two playoff series or whatever. But with Tatum, man, it's I feel like he's kind of playing kind of different this year. I know he's not really shooting well. Well, he didn't really shoot well this past series from three. But other than that, I feel like he's playing kind of like different now. Like he's getting everybody else involved more. I know like past couple, years, he would do that, but this time it's like he's actually like letting Jalen Brown go out there and hey, go get your points in the first half. If y'all need me in the second half, I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna show up. I mean, this is what he's been doing. You see in third quarters he takes over, fourth quarters he takes over, but he's getting everybody involved. He's finding Derek White, finding like I said, Jalen Brown and these other guys. So I'm gonna say it was Tatum.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, I think that speaks a testament to like he has matured a lot. Like we it's no longer,
Mm-hmm.
oh, he's only 19. He 26 now.
Nah.
He's got all the experience in the world. And the stuff that we seen plague him in years past playoff runs, it seems like he's figured it out a little bit this year. So, like I said, props to him, props to the Celtics. They doing their thing. It will be interesting, if they are faced with a little adversity. I don't know. The Pacers, maybe they'll provide some, maybe they won't. But whoever, if they are make it to the finals, whoever coming out the West gonna provide some adversity. So that'll be interesting to see, with Missoula if he can make some adjustments. Because I don't think he's really had to pivot just yet. That's the one fault I would say, if that can even be a fault. But yeah, no, Jason Tatum definitely doing his thing. But before we go on to the next question for this series, I want to throw y'all a curveball real quick. Is Jason Tatum considered a guard? Would y'all say, or is he small forward?
He's just playing guard. He really like a small forward.
Yeah,
He's
He's
just
like
playing
he's like
guard right now.
he's like a he's like a Paul George. Like Paul George can play both shooting guard and small forward. So he kind of like that.
I think
But
I
he
so
also
I
he's a
was
great definition of a positionless player.
yeah, but he also could be like a point forward if that makes sense too. So
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, well, say for argument's sake, we just gonna go with guard. Cause I was thinking about it earlier. It popped up into my head randomly when I was typing the questions up, and I was like, we just I said it myself too on INISPod last week or a few weeks
Yeah,
ago. I was like, Anthony Edwards, I think, is cemented himself as the best two-way guard. And I was thinking about it today as I was thinking about round two in the series, and I was like, Tatum, if you're gonna consider him a guard, I don't know if we could just give Anthony Edwards that title so quick. Because Tatum is definitely a solid two-way player himself and can definitely lock up. And we've seen that throughout the playoffs. And I was just thinking like certain matchups, like if the Timberwolves and Celtics matchup, I bet Tatum would be taking Ant for a
yeah,
good portion of the game. And that would kind of maybe sway, whoever who gets that title. But I was just thinking like, obviously social media is so like in the moment, they just say whatever goes with the narrative. I was just like, man, we really did just skip right over Tatum because like as much as social media hates him, he's definitely, if you're gonna consider him a guard, I think he's got the argument to say he's number one for right now as two-way guards because he also been playing great defense on the other side of the ball. So I don't want to see what y'all think about that. But like I said, he could also, you might consider him a small forward or like Chris said. I mean, it's positionless basketball, so it's really hard to say because like Cam said, he's playing point guard at the same time, playing shooting guard, playing small forward. He just play everywhere. He's really like a Swiss Army knife. Oh, did I lose y'all?
no, we still here.
Nah, we see. You want us to touch on that?
Okay,
Touch up on
okay,
it?
cool.
Yeah, because
Well, yeah,
I was like, that's a
I
good
want y'all to
closing
touch on.
statement.
I wanted to touch.
Oh,
Want y'all to touch on that, but my
because
screen
I was
also froze too. I was like, oh, because
I
I
was
got
gonna
the
say
little
that
Wi-Fi
like I
symbol.
said, he playing like I said, he's like playing like another Paul George. That's how Paul George was when he first started in Indy. Like he started off as a shooting guard, then when Danny Granger got hurt, he moved to small forward role. They put Lance Stevenson at two guard. So it's kind of like that. But the only argument on that is I remember we said like the East is weak, obviously, like him playing locking up. Let's see what he can do against the West though, because like no disrespect to the East, but when it has like the talent, like the top guards and top players in general, most of them come from the West. And so that's why I said like obviously we all got Boston make it to the finals, like obviously unless some freak injury, knock on wood, happens to where they don't make it. Whenever they face, let's say they face the Mavs or Timberwolves, it's gonna be a great matchup because you have Kyrie over there, you have and Luca. You have like a lot of great players on the West side, and 1 and 3 he had to guard. So it's gonna be great. This right here will show you like what he can do locking up watch because he had the opportunity to show that obviously against the Warriors, but that's his first final, so give him a little leeway. That's his first final. Curry was dominating, and then it got more of a argument because Wiggins was locking him down around that time. And none of us saw Wiggins ever do that ever, even when he first started in Minnesota. Like we know him from his athleticism and like that, but we never seen him lock down Tatum like that. So I was like, because I thought Boston was gonna win, and so seeing that, I'm like, yo, like nobody projected the Warriors to win after what been going down with Clay injuries and Draymond off the court issues and the whole KD stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, what I'm saying, I just don't want to be like a repeat again, like a role player coming in and just strapping down Tatum. Like a Derrick Jones Jr., for example, or Jay McDaniels, a role player coming in and just all clamps.
Yeah, for sure. I understand. I guess I was more so thinking of too like because like I was saying like revisionist history, like people really just living in the moment takes change every day on Twitter as we see. So like I
Yeah.
was more so in the mindset like, oh, because Ant is what's hot right now. Everybody was just quick to like throw love like, yeah, he the best two-way guard. And it was like, I mean, like 2 years ago, we literally saw Tatum lock up KD on one end and
Yeah.
then cook him on the other end. And it's like how quick we forget because he didn't win the championship. And in this ring culture, it's like, well, if he didn't win the championship, he choked and he's sorry. And it's like, all
And then you
right,
also and then you gotta
I
realize
get
like
it.
a lot of people were saying that too because of how Ant was, because both the one thing that Tatum and Ant both got in common, they both swept KD obviously in the first
Yeah,
round. And so like Ant was doing the same thing. He was locking up KD too, dunking on him and everything. And the only difference is Ant was talking shit to KD. Tatum was like being cool, like calm and collective. Ant was like, "Yeah, I got your number," like 'cause that's his idol. So he like, "Yeah, I got your number." blah
Shit, ain't
blah.
gonna talk. He
You
not
know
gonna
what I'm saying?
start
Like
running. He
Tatum,
just
not
talk
gonna,
whenever, wherever.
we don't really know Tatum for being a talker, but Ant gonna talk his. If Ant shot 6 for 24 and he's still talking shit in the post press conference, talking about like I'll lock down Jamal, or, you know what I'm saying? Like that's their confidence. It's not cockiness. And Tatum doesn't normally do that. So of course, like social media likes when an athlete talks shit. So of course that's why a lot of people gonna go up to Tatum because they feel like he's just being like soft and this thing. When we know Tatum is like he cold as hell. But and he gonna talk his shit and back it up. Even if he's shooting horrible or playing an off game, he's gonna say it's all right. We're gonna see y'all in game 7, blah blah blah, and then come out and just dominate.
I think people look at Tatum more as a forward than a guard. Truthfully, to me, he
That's
came
fair.
in as a forward. Like I said, he's just playing guard right now, but I don't think people view him as a guard like they do. And is a true guard. Like he's a true shooting guard. You could put JT all over the place, but I mean, I view him as a forward, like a small forward.
That's fair. I just feel like if you watch Celtics game, it's just the lineup positionally. Yeah, he's small forward, but if you watch the game, he guard. He bringing the
There you
ball
go.
up.
Yeah.
He illustrate or starting the offense, and then he getting buckets as well. But I just thought it was something funny. But I mean, we probably gonna get this settled within the next month. So unless out of all things, we get a Halliburton championship, which would be crazy.
That'd be
I,
crazy, dog.
Yeah,
I don't
extremely
I don't
crazy.
I don't know. Twitter might break
If
if Halliburton
I'm not gonna
wins the
lie,
NBA finals, bro.
if that actually happens, the Pacers won that trade then. Like
Oh yeah,
I feel
for
like
sure.
they already
Mhm.
won a trade now. They in Eastern Conference Finals, in my opinion. But if they really go out and somehow, some way, like even make it to the finals, I'm not even gonna say win. If they make it to the finals, the Pacers won that trade. Like they won that trade, in
If
my
they
opinion.
say they win the finals, this Rick Carlisle run greater than the 2011 Mavs Rick Carlisle run?
Yes. Yes. It's not even, I don't know why you thinking about it. Yes.
You know we got to think about that.
There's nothing to think about.
No, it's actually equal.
It's
And the
all
reason why
like,
and the reason why I'm saying it's equal is because if you
look
look,
at
like, hear me out, Cam, bro.
What
Hear
Hall
me
of
out.
Famer do the Pacers
Hold on.
have?
Hold on. Cam,
Name
damn, let
one.
me hear.
Name one Hall of Famer.
Cam, hear me out.
Name one Hall of Famer.
Cam, hear me out. If you look at both rosters, bro. If you look at both rosters, bro. Both rosters had
you accidentally muted yourself, Swan.
You muted yourself.
Kev, you muted yourself.
I'm talking about Cam, I'm going off. Both teams only had one current all-star. And so what I'm saying is Dirk was the only all-star that year.
What are you doing?
Halliburton's the only all-star this year. The only difference is the Pacers has the number one offense. That's cool and all. The Mavs had I think they had top 5 defense that year. So it's kind of, that's why I say it's gels. And both of them led by Rick Carlisle. That's why I say it's gonna be the same thing. The only difference is the Pacers had broke records of the offense. That's why I say I'll give them a slight edge on that, but it's not far off. It's really not. Because both of them had one current all-star, even though you can take away the Hall of Fame bullshit, whatever. Them niggas was old as fuck on the Mavs.
Yeah,
Jason
but
Kidd
they got experience. It's
it don't
experience. Like
matter.
they've been there
Jason
before.
Kidd,
It
Jason
does
Kidd
matter.
Jason
Experience
It
Kidd
does
does
was
matter.
matter, bro. Y'all was counting out OKC. I mean, not even just OKC, but
you
all
can't
these teams that
you
are in
can't
there.
say you can't say the whole experience shit nowadays now because you see
No. You can't say that because every single team that's in the playoffs right now was getting counted out because of their age.
But
Now that they're
okay, but
here,
what I'm
it's
saying,
like,
but look, that's why you're proving my point. What I'm saying is a lot of people are saying the whole the experience shit, blah blah blah. We done seen so many young teams and players currently knock out people who won championships and shit.
but that
That's
just
why I say
started.
that
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 just
just
started
happened
this
like this
year.
year.
That just happened. So
And
you can't say that
it's
yet.
only been
at
2
the end of the
years.
day, I'm giving the Pacers a slight edge, but I'm telling you it's not far off, bro.
Nah, it's pretty far off.
No,
It's
it's
pretty
not.
far off.
I'm
No, it's not.
not gonna cap.
But Rick
It's
Carlisle,
pretty far off.
Rick Carlisle always been a great scorer. That's why they want him to leave Dallas. But obviously, him and Luka weren't
That
gonna gel.
Mavs team was they was playing with they played with
That
each other for
Mavs
a
team was an
long time,
underdog
right?
every series.
But then they had that group for like a little
Oh,
minute
shit.
also.
No, they didn't. They made trades. The only person, The only
Hey,
person who kept for the only people that kept for a long
hey,
time right there was
hey.
they got married in '09 from Miami. They had got
I'm
And
talking
they
about
had
like three plus
Chandler.
like were they
For
there
like
for like 3+ years? Like the core guys were they there for like 3+ years?
they no, it's not all of
Jason
them.
Terry for sure.
Jason Terry, the only ones who were was Terry, um, Terry
Which
Kidd, JJ. I think JJ came. I think 2010. I think 2009, something like that.
when should I get Sean
Everybody else
Marion?
was trades. Like Karan Bullock came from trade. He didn't play at all. Deshaun Stevenson came from trade. He didn't play. He played in the playoffs. Everybody else came from
What about
trades.
Sean Marion?
That's what I'm saying. Sean Marion came from Miami and Toronto. That's what we got him. Got him in '09. But everybody else was trades. Like Brandon Haywood came from Washington trade. Him, Karan Butler, Deshaun Stevenson, all that was a trade. Everybody else was been there for a couple minutes, but it wasn't that long. That's why I said they got the edge because they're a younger team. And that them against Siakam made them put over the head. The only person on the pace who
They
been the
got the
longest, obviously, was
edge.
Miles Turner.
They got the edge.
And that's what I'm saying.
Because
I'm not taking away from the Pacers, but it shows you that at the end of the day, too, alongside them breaking records, because they're a cold as team. Like they got one of the best, they got the best offense in the NBA. I'm not gonna take it away from them. But it also show you that Rick Carl's always been that good coach because that's why I didn't want him. That's why I kept saying I didn't want him to leave Dallas. And this is no shade, Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd is the defensive minded coach, and he helped Luka with his shooting and passing because Luka came in, Luka couldn't shoot for shit. So Jason Kidd helped him with that. But Rick Carlo always been a good ass coach because he let people play how they want to play. Halliburton have averaging double doubles and stuff like that. Nobody expected Halliburton to be like this. It's young at 24,
nobody
averaging
expected
17 and
Pacers.
10 and stuff like that.
I ain't gonna lie, Cam. You being biased, bro. You being a
I'm
little
not
biased.
being
You
biased.
being
I said
Being
the
biased.
biased,
Pacers
bro.
guy,
Being
but it's not
biased.
being
You
the
being
edge.
biased.
I'm
You
not
being
being
biased.
biased, bro.
It's
I'm
about a
not.
lot,
Talk about an
bro.
I'm
edge.
literally
It's
giving up,
like it's the
bro. I'm
whole
literally
step.
giving up. I'm literally saying that Rick Carlisle's a great coach, bro. But
That's
I'm
not what the
saying
question
No,
was.
that's not the
it's
question.
not. It's not far off.
It's
Bro,
pretty far.
name one Hall of Fame that the Pacers have.
Bro, y'all going to Hall of Fame, so it don't matter, bro. It's still not Hall of Fame.
It,
It's matter.
I get.
man,
I
It
say.
does
I say
matter.
it's clearly the Pacers, but the only advantage the 2011 Mavs would have is the fact they beat Braun in the Heat. Whoever they
Yeah.
face out in the West is not going to be the Braun Heatles.
All I'm
But
saying is the reason why I'm saying is too, like, and like I said, it's not the Pacers' fault, but the Mavs literally was underdogs in every single series. I'm not in the Pacers. Obviously,
so
like
are
they
the
can't control
Pacers
what
though.
happened, huh?
So are
They-
the Pacers have been underdogs at
he's been
every
an
series.
underdog all season.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying, okay, so Mavs had to go against talent wise. Okay, like you said, they're going against Bron. Mavs had to go against a Portland team led by Brandon Roy and all them before the freak injuries and stuff. Then they had to go against Kobe and them, off of defending champions, knocked them off.
That's
Then
fair.
they had to go against a young KD team in OKC that was killing shit. And then the following year, they made the finals. Then they had to go against a big three in Bron, Wade, and Bosh and all them. And I'm not that's I'm not taking away the Pacers, but I'm that just how I'm seeing it. I'm saying it's not that far off. I'm saying the Pacers are they're a better team. I'm taking that back, they're a better team, but I'm saying it's not a complete
When you
blowout.
list
But
out
yeah,
the teams like that, it makes a better argument. That was a nice
that's all
little
I'm saying. I'm not.
gauntlet
That's
of
why I said the
teams they
Hall of
went
Fame
through.
shit. I'm not worried about all that. I'm just saying like who they went against and stuff too. Thank you for correcting. I should have worded it better. But yeah, that's all I'm saying. And then just like I said, even though they're Hall of Fame, these are some these are some senior citizen ass niggas going against Brian at 26 years old. Brian was in his prime, dunking on niggas. You got Jason Kidd guarding him at fucking 38, bro. Niggas on fire right now.
They knew how to play him.
And the only person on excuse my French. The only person on
He just said it like 8 times. Now he said, "Excuse me."
the only person on the Mavs who really locking down Braun was JJ Barea, bro, and Deshaun Stevenson.
You finna get Cam started.
Nah, it's true. You can't
It's
even
true, bro.
shit,
Cam,
can't
bro.
even
I'm
say
not being biased, bro. We
It's
if
true.
we
He
gonna
said
look
it's
at
true. He said it's true. He said
Nah,
it's
it's
true.
true.
okay, because I was gonna say, bro, I'm not. That's not. I'm really not being biased. I'm just being entirely honest, bro. Deshaun, even Braun came out years later and said like Deshaun Stevenson had his number that year in the finals.
He played like a
Because Brown was cooking Sean Marion, and then Sean Stevens had to come in and do his thing.
Okay, well, let's pivot back to Braun's old team who just took the L to Boston, which I think was the biggest reason Cleveland lost. And then where do they go from here? Because honestly, I'm gonna go first on this one. I think it
Right.
was, and it might not be all his fault because I know he dealt with a lot of injuries throughout this year. He
Mhm.
had to like ankle injury, and then he comes back from that, and then he got sidelined with another injury. I'm forgetting right now. But Mobley, man, he's been in the league, what, 3 years now?
Yeah.
He hasn't developed no offensive bag whatsoever, and it's very apparent come playoff time. He can't get a bucket. Had a lot of single digit games, if I'm not mistaken. Whenever, Donovan Mitchell could make a run by himself, he needed some type of help. And you can obviously put a lot of blame on Garland too, because he's supposed to be part of the 1-2 punch with Donovan. But I just feel like Mobley, lottery pick, supposed to be a future star, especially with Jared Allen sitting out with his, I guess, rib cage injury. You got to step up to the plate, man. And Mobley, he wasn't really good in the Magic series too on the offensive end, if we being honest. So he just dropped a complete dud all playoffs, and I think he's going into his contract year if they didn't pick up his option, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think you can pivot off of him just yet. But he's definitely going to have to make a significant leap this offseason on the offensive side of the ball and show some things, or that might be a wasted pick, and they might have to move off of him some way, somehow.
Is I don't watch the Cavs for real, but do they try to use him on the offensive side of the ball? Like, is that a
He
He just he
he's
just does.
unusable on offense, low key.
but
Like
no,
he
but
can't.
but I get that. I get that. But is he unusable in their offense?
That could be
He
that's
should
That's
be
that's
more of
my
a
question.
he should be
because
more of a pick and pop guy.
which is fair. But the way what Chris saying is like if he goes like let's say he get traded to like another team that had like let's say he goes to the Pacers for example, he could use differently and be like more instead of like a pick and pocket being like a stretch big for whatever reason. So it could be a system thing too. It could be
Yeah,
under JB
like are they
Bickerstaff.
trying to develop him within their offense so he gets those chances? I don't
I
watch
Yeah,
them. I don't
they
watch
are
them.
the last. So I made a mistake here. He had one single digit game back in the Magic series. That's
yeah.
really where he struggled. This series he did better. He had 17, 21, 17, 19. But then the last game he exploded for 33. But it's like, where was that the other games when Donovan Mitchell could have utilized that?
So
And y'all were struggling down the stretch.
so
That could
to
have kept the game closer.
pretty much to counter that argument, the reason why he exploded for the last game versus the other games, you gotta look at who all was out too. Like you had, of course, besides Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell, Karis LeVert, and other people was
Yeah,
out too. So he had no choice but to be the second
but to
option,
feed him.
maybe the first option to explode. When you have like Donovan Mitchell in, Darius Garland in, Jared Allen, Karis LeVert, they all trying to get their shots in. So he's trying to let them do the thing. Even Matt Strus sometimes. When you have all them players out, you have no choice but to score and do a lot because I mean, who else gonna play? It's like that's like Colin Sexton versus everybody's like a 3-on-5 basically. Like you have to do your part. So
And
I
also,
think
I
you're
was
right.
just say to Chris' point too. I'm just thinking about it. I don't know how really well they mesh well on paper or just cohesion within that starting unit. That's a lot of people, and besides Garland, nobody's really a distributor of the ball. Like Donovan Mitchell can distribute, but he looking for a shot 9 times out of 10. He not looking to pass the rock. Shrews spot up 3 and D. It's really only Garland that would be feeding him for real, for real. So, and with Allen out all series, I think they were starting Okoro most of the time. He's
Yeah.
not gonna feed Mobley either. So it's tough. They got to do some roster rearrangement for sure. And I mean, from what rumors say, I don't think Donovan Mitchell wants to be there. I don't know what the deal
It's
with
a
that
lot of
is.
it's a lot of rumors with that one. That's why I wouldn't put it on Mobley because like he's not getting the ball, so I can't put it on him. But when everybody was out, he finally got showed where he can score. So that's why I'm putting the blame on mostly on Darius Garland because he came in before Mobley and he still hasn't developed anything. He's still putting up like 14 and 8 or something like that. He had like one breakout game in the playoffs where he
He
went
had
crazy.
30 in game
Yeah,
4.
yeah, but other than that, he hasn't really done anything at all, and he's already, excuse me, a defensive liability. Yes, it is. So you're a defensive liability, and you're not producing more offense. That just like it's wasted roster spot. And so, um, with that being said, like you have a lot of point guards in the league who are like defensive liabilities, like a Trey Young and everybody else, but they can score efficiently and set people up. Darius Garland not doing either. Like he have like every blue moon, go off and stuff, and that frustrates a backcourt of him and Donovan Mitchell because they already undersized as it is, and they're both like Donovan Mitchell is a okay defender, like he's decent for what he's doing for his size, but they're both 6'1" and under. Like they not like these big guards that have now in the league nowadays, like an Ant or somebody else. So they're gonna get torched. And so if you already can't, you're already defensive liability and you can't really score a lot, then what are you there for? And so I'll put the more blame on him because you can't set up other people. You got Max Strus leading the team in assists, and he's a forward. He's 6'8". And so that makes it bad for him that you can't score, you can't set people up, and you just sitting there, and now you want a contract extension. And it's already a rumor that if Donovan Mitchell somehow, some way get a contract extension from Cleveland, he might mess around and go to Orlando, for example. Just to be up there because he want his money too. But what have you done to produce that to get the money? You haven't done anything, and then you let Evan Mobley, who's not even known for offense, outscore you.
That's fair. So, what's the moves you think Cleveland got to make?
I think
Like because
they have
it's
to.
probably gonna come down. You got to pick one of them, Garland or Mitchell, and that's really depending on if Mitchell truly wants to be there. Who
Yeah,
really knows?
and Mitchell getting older too, so you never know. Like his window it's not gonna stay forever. So then he had like a couple injuries this year too as well. At one point, that's why he wasn't eligible for like a lot of All NBA awards. Personally, you know me, I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick not Garland. I'm going to pick Mitchell. But it, if they pick Mitchell, Garland's gone. Like obviously, he's going to be gone. So that shows you they got to build a team around him. They got to win now because, like I said, Mitchell window is not going to stay forever, and he's going to want to win or he's going to leave. So that'd be wasted. It's real tricky because you don't want to piss off Garland. He leaves, and then if Mitchell's not happy because they can't surround him with the perfect talent, they don't want a Utah Jazz part 2. And then he ended up leaving. You got to start over again. It didn't take them that long to recover after Braun left, but it's going to be like that all over again.
Well, I mean, I'll say one person I'm pretty sure is for sure gone, and this might excite Chris a little bit. I'm pretty sure Jared Allen is gone. There were many rumors coming out of that camp that said he technically was healthy enough to play, and I think he more so made a business decision like, yo, I ain't got paid for real like that, or I'm up for a contract. I'm not about to risk my health in this series and play for y'all. I don't think he's been vibing well with the Cavaliers front office for whatever reason. And so I'm pretty sure he's out of there. Now, what you can get for Jared Allen, like Thunder got picks. I don't know what type of contract that's gonna take or how many years are left on his deal if you got to take on that. But that's one move. And then, like I said, it really just depends because if Donovan Mitchell wants to be there, obviously you should pick Donovan Mitchell over Darius Garland at this point in their careers. But if he doesn't, it already came out. Was it his last name Snyder or am I tripping? Or Gilbert, Dan Gilbert. I'm thinking of Washington old pedophile abusive GM. But Dan Gilbert already said like he not trading Donovan to LA. So Lakers fans don't even start with that mess. But he say it's gonna have to take a couple young stars and picks for Mitchell. So a team is gonna have to come with the haul. And there's not too many teams that can do all that.
The only teams that can do that would be like the only teams you can name that young got hella picks will be like OKC, Orlando. If the owner for Brooklyn start being a douche, it'll be Brooklyn too, but he don't want to do anything. Them only three teams that
That's
has
where
a
he's
lot
been rumored to the most is Brooklyn. I don't really understand that one.
But them only three teams that has a lot of picks, cap space, and can make a trade for their young and stuff. But the only team that's like it's only two of them three teams are playoff ready, has a lot of picks, young, and have the money for it, and that's Orlando and OKC. But like I said, it all comes out to Dan Gilbert what he decides to do basically. Because the Lakers and the Suns don't have any more picks to trade in the Clippers.
You said what?
What about San Antonio? I don't know what their stuff looks like. I'm asking.
That's another one too.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah,
that'll be interesting. Give Wemby a score.
That'll be another. I won't say another Utah. It'd be better actually, in my opinion. It'd be better.
Oh, no, that's better.
That's way better. Definitely way better because obviously we already know what everything with Rudy, but Wemby literally can block, defend, and shoot and dribble. Like you basically you team up with an alien. So now you got two players who can be all NBA, can shoot, defend, set each other up. That's gonna be scary in San Antonio. If they can make that happen, and then maybe bring like some better like role players around them, that's gonna be entirely scary in the Southwest.
You get Donovan Mitchell. You sign
And you know,
Tyus
Dom Mitchell could play point
Jones.
guard and shooting guard, so he can set people up, so he can play the point guard role.
Well, that's why I was saying you go get Tyus Jones or you get like a Peyton Pritchard, some just a simple
I
point
would, I would
guard.
get I would get Peyton Pritchard because he's cheaper, younger, and he can shoot better than Tyus Jones. I would get Peyton Pritchard if I was him as well.
Hey, that
And
I
he
like
and
that.
he
I
wants
like the
contract.
Donovan Mitchell to San Antonio. I don't think I've heard that one. I don't
That'll
know
be
if Donovan would be interested either, but that I like that idea.
that'll be a sleeper though, because everybody's rumoring that Trey Young go there. You know, they've been rumoring that since All Star break. They first
I
started out with
just
Deontay Murray, but yeah,
I just want to see that just for the Trey Wimby lobs. That they'd
that
probably set the record for most alley oops in the season. I don't know what that
I,
is, but they would break it.
I would definitely love to see that if that happens.
Okay. Moving on to the next series, and this one just ended yesterday. Game 7. New York versus Indy, man. The Pacers, the team nobody thought would be here, they're here. Call it what you want. You know, injury luck has been on their side. Everybody they face, their players have been dropping like flies. They get Milwaukee round 1. Obviously, Giannis already out. Dame ends up going out in that series as well. Get the dub there 4-2. Go into this New York series. And by the end of the series for New York, it seemed like every player muscles was falling off the bone. And then Jalen Brunson literally broke a bone in game 7. But I mean, they came into Madison Square Garden and started off whooping up on the Knicks anyway before the injury occurred to Jalen Brunson. Tyrese, you know, Nimhard has been playing pretty well. TJ McConnell off the bench has been playing lights out. Obi Toppin had a nice series versus his former team. Miles Turner, Siakam, 1-2 front court. The Pacers been doing their thing. I can't knock it. Like you said, they're the number 1 offense in the league for a reason. Defense is still a little suspect, but if the way they're playing offense right now, they can outscore you for sure if you don't come with it. Um, what's y'all's biggest takeaway from Indiana in this series, and who do you think was the X factor? What was the reason they ended up pulling this one out in 7?
Can I put two? Can I play
Sure.
at a time? I'm gonna say Andrew Nimhart, and no, I take that back. I'm actually gonna say TJ McConnell. I'm gonna say him, and I'm gonna say Miles Turner, because Miles Turner was literally playing like the best defense ever in his playoff series. Like I think he was averaging like three and a half blocks, something like that, close to it. Even his last game, I think he had 4 blocks. So him stretching the floor, you know, shooting the three, setting people up, and then defending the rim, like that was some defense right there. TJ McConnell come off the bench because it was games where Tyrese, like Halliburton, wasn't playing well, shooting well, whatever. TJ McConnell came off the bench and was literally putting up starter points and starting assists as off the bench. Like he playing like a starter basically. And so if that didn't happen, they probably would not have won the series, because him coming in, I think he had one of the best plus minus like in the entire playoffs. And so him coming in, setting the tone, setting everybody up, setting up Obi Top and everybody else off the bench, like being like that vocal point 6-man off the bench. He was setting everybody up. He was doing it like efficiently. So I have to say TJ McConnell, but like I said, Miles Turner really set it down on a defense. They already like a defensive liability team. I think they had one. I think they not dead ranked last, but they in the bottom barrier of the
It was
defense.
second.
Yeah,
They're second
and
last.
he was playing defense like they was like the best ranked goal protecting defensive team. So I have to say them two, and they're probably like the biggest X factors to me personally.
Who want to take it next?
I go. Oh, you want to go? Me? Okay. And I same TJ McConnell. Um, Whenever you can get production like that coming off the bench from anybody, I mean, sky's the limit, man. So I'm gonna go with him. Like Cam was saying, he gets people involved, and he can go out and get go get a bucket, play solid defense. Yeah, I'm gonna go TJ.
Bro, I genuinely think it was New York just gas it out, bro. Like we talked about it since the beginning of the playoffs, and it was almost a running joke with Josh Hart. Like I think at some point it has to become realistic. I think it's not to bash the Pacers because they did play very well, right? You got to still go out and execute, but it does help that your opponent is probably like extremely worn out. And to the Pacers' credit, they continue to be relentless regardless of what was brought to them. Right? They kept playing the way they're supposed to play. I think that's still the biggest factor. Uh, and then and you can really I can piggyback and you can say it works both ways because when you do get bench points like that, like you allow your starting five to rest, be able to outpace, no pun intended, that Knicks team that's like extremely worn out.
I agree. I guess if I truthfully, it deserves, or TJ McConnell deserves it. But I'm gonna say it was Hallie. When Hallie actually came out and chose to be a threat to score the basketball, it was a completely different Indiana Pacers team. Every game they lost, you look at the box score when they lost, and it was like Halliburton. I know game one, it was something crazy where like he didn't even take but like one shot in the second half. I think he finished with like six that game. Another game, he only had like five in the second half. I want to say that might have been game 4 or 3, I think. But when he came out the gate shooting the ball, it opens up the floor for so much else for them, so they can push the ball. He can distribute, get his assists. But if he was being aggressive and actually putting pressure on like Jalen Brunson on the defense side of the ball, because for like game one, Jalen Brunson was getting to chill. Like he didn't have to guard him. Halliburton wasn't, a threat to score. Jalen Brunson go back down on the end of the court. He got all the energy in the world to go get a bucket. And that kind of piggybacks on what Chris was saying. Like, if you know you got a tired Knicks team, because Tibbs is going to play everybody 40 plus minutes every game, and they just came out a series where they went 7, go at them, especially Jalen Brunson. That's their main guy. If you can get him gas, that severely diminishes anything the Knicks could have had going on. And instead, Halliburton came out lackadaisical a couple of those games. They ended up losing. But when he came out and put his mind to it, that's what you see the results. Indiana putting up points like they should. He was shooting the ball well. Um, this last game 7, he goes 6 for 12 from 3, 26 points. He only has 6 assists, so it's not like his average for the season where he's getting double double. But them 6 threes were big. Like that opened up the court for everybody else. So you got players like Aaron Neesmith having the game of his life, 8 of 8, because he's getting open shots because Halliburton is forcing the issue and putting pressure on the Knicks defense. So while McConnell did come in and give great minutes, and I was honestly a big fan of playing him down the stretch of the games instead of Nimhard a few of these games because I thought he was a better defender on Brunson. Halliburton definitely did his thing, and it was good to see because he is the star player of this team. He's what makes them go. If they are going to somehow win an NBA Finals miraculously, it's got to be running through him. The only other person I can see potentially even getting a Finals MVP, depending on how they can play, would be Siakam. But for this team to say it's got to go to Hallie, and he came through. Game 7 in Madison Square Garden. I know the injuries piled up for the Knicks, but to have that on your resume, you went into Madison Square Garden Game 7 and had one of your best games in the first playoff run you've ever had. That's some legacy stuff right there. So he cemented for that. Hopefully he can build on it, as his career goes on. But that's not too bad of a start. You saw him post game. He had the hoodie on with the Reggie Miller on the front of the Knicks choking. And then as far as the other end goes, man, New York Knicks, dog. I feel like, and maybe this is a little bit me hating, bro. So let me explain as after what I say. For one, I think the Knicks are finna fall into a trap if they don't make some key offseason moves where it's like, oh, we were this close. And we can do it. No, I don't think so. Oh, Tibbs can be the coach to get us there. Nah, I don't think so. We've seen this with Tibbs his whole career. Tibbs runs his players into the dirt. Like people are like, oh, you can't blame Tibbs for the injuries. Like, yes, you literally can. We've seen it his whole career. And Josh Hart trained his abdomen. That's a muscle injury, a core injury, because your body is fatigued. Josh Hart played like 7 games throughout this playoffs, the whole game, no rest. And some of the other games where he rested, it was all of like 30 seconds to a minute. OG Anunoby, they were like, well, he didn't play heavy minutes. He didn't in the season. And then come playoff time when he was coming back from injury, multiple times in the Sixers series, he played 40 plus minutes. And then what happened to him? His hamstring fell off the bone. And then they shot him up with horse tranquilizers and tried to stick him back out there. And 2 minutes into the game, he had to be pulled for the rest of the game.
Oh my
Jalen Brunson, I get it. Like, credit to him. He's a bucket, not taking anything from him. But at the same time, you got to look at it, y'all. Jalen Brunson was getting up 30 shots a game. And he was putting up 40 balls. But if you go give a superstar for real in the NBA 30 shots, you give Curry 30 shots, you know how many points he's going to get? It's going to be nothing less of 50. You give Luka 30 shots, he getting 50. You give Ant 30 shots, he get like, you give a real superstar 30 shots, they get 50 points. Brunson not taking anything from him. He's great. He set that record for most consecutive games of 45-5. All props to him. He was a dog. But you still got to go out and get a 1A. He's a 1B. You can't, like Becky Hammond said, you can't win a series in today's NBA when your best player is a small guard unless it's Steph Curry and he's the best shooter in NBA history ever. Jalen Brunson is not that. He's a bucket, but he's not that. So while the Knicks, yes, they were literally 1 game away from making the conference final for the first time in like 25 years. They still very far away. They got a lot of moves to make. They need to add some depth. And I'm not going to lie. They're going to run it back with Tibbs. I don't think Tibbs will ever be the coach to get them over that hump. I'm just saying. And like I said, Tibbs will run his players into the ground. We see it every year with him. Nothing will change next year. They literally, all of their players were hanging on by a limb by the end of the series. If they would have won, I would have been low-key scared for what the Celtics would have done to them because they wouldn't have had anybody left. They wouldn't have had anybody at all. So that's my
So,
spill on the Knicks. It's tough for New York. You know, all their fans be so hyped after the game. You saw how hyped they were after they won the Philly series. Going to this one, you're up 3-2, 2 games to close the series out, and you fail to do it. Another thing where it's like, if Jalen Brunson, that superstar guy, you got to go do that. Game 6, he had a flunker. Game 7, obviously, they came out slow. Brunson didn't get hurt till like the 3rd quarter. Hart, like I said, he playing with the abdomen, but he's not healthy. Anunoby lasted 2 minutes. Mitchell Robinson, it went out. Mitchell Robinson, I forgot to mention him. He had an ankle injury. They done forced him back in the first round. He done hurt his ankle so much. Now he out for 8 weeks. I was like, you might as well just say he's out for the season at that point. Julius Randle thought he could possibly come back with a dislocated shoulder. He couldn't come back. Bogdanovich out for the I mean, I get it. The coach isn't responsible for all injuries, but well, y'all know my favorite thing, the definition of insanity. If everything keeps happening to a Tibbs coach team like that every time he coaches, I think he would be the common denominator. Let's just have some common sense, people. Knicks got to change some things, man. They were this close, but tragedy strikes New York once again. Might be the worst thing to ever happen to that city. I don't know.
So the question will be is, who would you bring in? Like this, okay, so like the 2 questions
That's
you bring
the
in.
tough part. I don't know for their
like
sake.
you got to feel like what coach will you bring in to replace him, and what superstar will you put next to Brunson? Because obviously, we all know that Julius Randle probably he's gonna get traded. We all know that. But who would you bring into alongside with Brunson?
That's
That'd be the
that's
two.
the
That'd
that's
be two.
the hardest question. I
Because
really
Brunson got
don't
2
have an
more years in
answer
this.
for you,
He
but
got 2
I
more
just
years in this
know
contract.
by the end of this series, it had gotten so bad and Knicks fans were so fed up with all the injuries. I saw some of them making the argument that having Julius Randle might have been good. And that's how you know they were in the gutter. Because we, everybody knows on this podcast, we are not Julius Randle fans. We've been a big proponent of getting rid of him, but they were so down bad. They're like, man, we could have used Julius Randle in this series. And I don't buy that for a second. I've heard Stephen A's claim Rivers, Donovan Mitchell. Don't do that. You're gonna go with 2 small ball dominant guards with him and Brunson.
Like I said
That's
earlier with Cleveland, bro.
that's not gonna work whatsoever. Um, it sucks because while Josh Hart is a great rebounder, if him and Brunson DiVincenzo are gonna be playing heavy minutes, you're already gonna be undersized as is. Hartenstein, serviceable big. Mitchell Robinson, serviceable big. Championship bigs on the championship team, I doubt it.
Bro, it's
So,
it's so unfortunate because if Julius Randle was actually who he thought he was,
well, this next team
they
will be
could be
perfect.
cold. They'd be cold.
Facts.
And
But
and
he's
that's
not
why
that
I'm
dude.
saying it's so tough for Knicks fans because it's like we just made it to Game 7 of the semifinals. We almost made it to the conference finals. We're this close, and when you sit back and actually look with context and look at the roster and look at the team, they're actually not. They got a Philly team who's notorious for playoff chokes. Props to them. It's still and yeah, I get it. Injuries piled up on them, but they had every chance in the world to close out the series. They just dropped the ball when
It
they
just
had a chance to put it. They could have went up 3-1, then they choked that one. Then they went up 3-2, didn't finish it in game 6. Game 7 came out completely flat at home. It's unacceptable.
it's gonna be interesting next year, bro, because you had like the teams you just named, they're gonna be healthy next year. You're gonna see Philly get back healthy and they're gonna make some moves. Obviously, probably getting rid of Tobias and restarting that roster. Miami gonna be back healthy when everybody come back. Because they haven't had one game with Terry Rozier in the playoffs, so they're gonna finally see what he can do and possibly bring in some more players, drafting whatever. It's gonna be tough for New York to get that far again because everybody gonna come back in full strength. Like Milwaukee was banged up, they're gonna come back in full strength. They're gonna probably make some moves. Obviously, it's gonna be like a little tough for New York to get back. And then, like we said, Indiana's a young team, and so the way they're hooping, I'm 99.9% sure, I got tongue twisted, that Siakam's gonna come back. He's gonna resign. Like he's not gonna want to leave Indiana for whatever reason. Like it's probably like his best team he should be on, honestly. Like a young team, that nobody expected them to go this far. They only gonna get better. Halliburton's only 24. Miles Turner is maybe like 27, 28. They're a great team. And so him to come back and he could bring his championship experience and they could probably bring in some more let's say some more wings off the bench. Mind you, they didn't even have Matherin. He's probably one of the best defenders.
And
They didn't even have
he's
him.
been out. So,
So wait till he come back from injury. They're gonna be a scary team next year. Once they have Matherin come back and the other players they lost from injuries, they're gonna be a scary team to look out for. And
the
in
only
the East,
the only player I can really think of, and that's if there's actually fire behind all the smoke that's been coming out of Miami. Could they possibly go get Jimmy Butler? You bring a dog, you run it back with him, Brunson. I think you got to keep Anunoby. I think he's going to be a great piece moving forward as long as he can stay healthy. Then you have a core because really, while DiVincenzo and Hart played amazing for what they did in their roles this postseason, those are really guys you bring off the bench. I don't think they should be starters on a championship team. But if you can get Jimmy somehow, some way, pair him with the other four players I just named, and then go from there, you might have a start. But I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like they gotta do a lot of thinking because you can't possibly just say, "Well, we're gonna run it back the exact same way," because they definitely won't make it to where they want to make it. But I really don't. It's tough. It's tough because it's they're one of them teams. It's like it's not the same, but at the same time, it's like the Buffalo Bills now. Like Buffalo was in their Super Bowl window for the last 4 years, but they only made one conference championship game, and now they have to hit like a semi quasi rebuild because they just got too much in cap space hell and they failed. New York ain't even made a conference champion or the conference finals, but they almost have to hit a semi quasi rebuild because as currently constructed, I just don't see them ever getting it done. And this is in what we're calling a weak East. So and they're not making it to the conference finals. And they've been blessed with some of their first round matchups throughout these years. Because last year they got Cleveland, who Cleveland wasn't good. They weren't ready for the playoffs. And then this year, like I said, you get Philly with Philly by themselves, like I said, already playoff chokes, and you got Embiid coming off of a meniscus tear who clearly wasn't healthy, got Bell's palsy, whatever the hell was going on with that. Yeah, they still went 7 there. So, like I said, Knicks. I'm sorry, Knicks fans, if anybody's listening to this, you're not as close as you think. If you know y'all make it, we'll come back to this and I'll apologize and eat crow. But as of right now, bro, telling you, y'all ain't close like y'all think y'all are close. So, but
It's gonna be interesting next year, man. It's gonna be way interesting. Everybody come back full health. Like I said, this East is gonna be. I think the Indiana is gonna be. They're gonna be for sure the top 3 team to look out for. Behind like Boston, they're gonna be that top team to look out for. Like I said, everybody younger than now they know what to surround Halliburton with defensively. And I think everybody's still under contract too. I think you just gotta re-sign Siakam, which I'm pretty sure they will. They're gonna be a scary team to look out for, man, in the East for years to come. As long as they keep that core together, and it's crazy because like they've been having Miles Turner in the trade rumors for like 5 years straight, and look what he's doing. Finally happy, yeah, and that shows you they need to keep him because he's. I think I'm telling you, I think Miles Turner is only like 28,
yeah,
and
he's young.
and for what I think he's been in the league since 2015. I think he came in the same year as Cat. So what he's doing is crazy for like a rim protector. He can stretch the floor and you can defend like you got to keep that around, man. I don't know why they've been engaging with trade rumors for a lot. I'm glad the front office actually stayed patient and kept him instead of just blowing it all up. I remember him and Sabonis together. Obviously, they're in jail for whatever reason. We know that you can't put 2 centers set like together. The only time you can do that is with Minnesota, obviously, but one of them can play power forward. With Sabonis, like he's more of like a smaller Jokic, basically. Like he set people up, and he also can play. With that, I'm glad they made the trade with Siakam because when I first saw the trade with Siakam, I wasn't sure about it. Obviously, I know Toronto was just trying to rebuild. They got sent OG to New York, and they sent Siakam to Indiana. So I wasn't sure about it, but then I thought about it. I'm like, okay, he bringing championship experience, kind of like how Kyrie with Dallas. You bringing in championship experience that your star player needs. That's what Tyrese needs. That's what Luka needed. So you bring in somebody who actually won it before, and they won it as an underdog. So like Kyrie won as an underdog against Golden State. Siakam won as an underdog against Golden State. So you bring in somebody who knows when to win under pressure and stuff. And so that right there shows you like what the young player can look after and take off because Tyrese is only 24, Luka's only 25. So that helps a lot. And so with Indiana, I feel like they're gonna really take off next year. And like I said, when everybody come back from injury, it's gonna be really scary over there, man. Because I think Indiana they really have a lot of depth. Because looking at their roster, like they dealt some injuries, but seeing how everybody rotating around, they all just scoring like nonstop, shooting like 67% from the field.
They might have an argument for deepest team left in the playoffs.
I think arguably they got the deepest team. Like I really think so. Like because he had players coming in that I ain't even ever seen before. Players coming in that touching the floor and they're scoring like lights out. And I'm like, bro, I don't even know what this dude's name is. Like I ain't never heard of. I'm not even trying to be funny. I never heard Andrew Nembhard, and he over here just giving buckets.
You don't remember him from Gonzaga?
That's what I'm saying, but I ain't seen him in a while though. That's what I'm saying. That's what I meant. Like I ain't seen him in a while, and so I'm like, he coming in just shooting lights out. Then they had another dude named I forgot his name. He came in giving like 5-10 points.
You talking about Shepard?
Yeah, Ben Shepard. Yeah. Then you had Neesmith coming in. Neesmith had start off with Boston coming in playing lights out defensively and then shooting the ball lights out. Indiana got everybody looking like some great role players, bro. Like they're playing their role. That's gonna be scary next year. That's good chemistry, and they all young. I think the oldest person on that team, I think it's TJ McConnell. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's the oldest person on the team.
They'll probably play. Yeah, remember they got James Johnson on that roster
just in case a fight.
Break out. They're ready to go.
I'm talking about people who actually get in the game. I think TJ McConnell is actually the oldest one. I think about it.
That's sure. Okay, well, I'm gonna let you two decide, Chris and Swan. Do y'all want to touch on y'all series next, or save that one for last?
Let's say for last.
Okay. Well,
what are we saving it for? There's nothing exciting about it.
What you mean?
It's nothing exciting about it,
What's not exciting about it?
bro. It wasn't even like
It
a
was a
exciting.
battles. Both teams scored 636 points apiece. Games were coming down to the wire, man, and we
It's
can
not,
never
what is
forget.
there? What is there
I'm
to
gonna
talk
edit it
about?
in. Roll the clip for what you said a
Oh
couple weeks
yeah. I mean, I said it. I said it. I stand by it.
ago. Did you peep my shirt, Kale?
Yeah. Where did you even get that from? I saw that before we started.
When I went to the game a couple years ago for the Western Conference, these were the shirts
Uh,
they had. I'm really contemplating going to go see Ant
Nah,
and Luca face off game 3. I don't know them
nah,
ticket price. Oh my god, the fees, them
nah,
things are
it's tough.
criminal. But
Nah, I had Nah, we can say that for last. Nah, we can say that for last.
okay, we'll say that for last. He obviously got something we want to say.
I'm finna go to
Well,
sleep.
well, well, we go pass it to KF Sanders so he could talk about his T Wolves. How they do it, man? Timberwolves game 7 dub over the reigning NBA champions in Denver. Came back down from 20, largest game 7 comeback in NBA history, and another milestone in his young NBA career. Cat with the legacy game. Rudy Gobert with the dumbest, best game I think I've ever seen him play. One half he looked like a complete pedestrian, and then next half he's hitting daggers off turnaround fadeaways. It makes zero sense. But Minnesota did it. Shout out to Chris Finch, well coached team. I mean, they scared me for a minute because they went up 2-0, then they lost the next 3, and then they went back and won the next 2, but they never lost the faith and stayed talking throughout, which is why I don't mind when he talks because he's not a front runner. He gonna talk from start to beginning, from start to end, no matter what's happening. So I gotta give him his props. But Sanders, go ahead and tell us, what them boys did right, because you're probably this your team looks like
That's
moving
my
forward.
team now.
You
That's my
on
team.
the ant train now.
It's Ant World, man. And it was pretty much a roller coaster. This whole series, like you said, go up 2-0, 2 wins in Denver. One first game closed, the second game you just completely just blow them out, and then went back to Minnesota, dropped 2, then went back to Denver, dropped that one, and then the rest is history, whatever. And I think that honestly, the way the series went was kind of more surprising than like I mean, obviously I had the T-Wolves winning, but that game 7, I think that was the biggest deficit loss or whatever. Coming back from 20, and in the second half, whatever, in a game 7, tough. You seen fourth quarter. I mean, third quarter. That's what really got them back into it. I think it was like a 28-14 type of third quarter, whatever. And then going to the fourth. I mean, Ant stepped up. He wasn't shooting good, but he's a good 2-way defender. So he said, "Hey, look, I got Jamal Murray," and he got him. I mean, he completely took him out the game that fourth quarter. Really for Denver, they really looking for Jamal Murray, in the fourth quarter for them, for him to close the game out, and then shout out to Cat, man. And he defensive wise, he did way better than what Rudy was giving him, and
Shame.
Shane, I know it's a shame. And down the stretch, like you texted, it's really like a blessing in disguise. Rudy, because at first Cat had got his 5th foul,
Cat got his 5th first
and
and was
then
on the bench.
they subbed him out, and you could tell like he wanted to get back in the game, and he just kept looking down at the coach like put me back in, and then blessing the skies, Rudy caught that 6, so they had to put Cat back in. Cat sealed it with that putback dunk. Then Nas Reed, he hit some timely shots. I think he had like a putback dunk or whatever. And then at the end, Jaden McDaniels,
That's crazy.
he shot, yeah. But he does stuff like that. I remember, I
It
think it
was
was like
Utah.
yeah, Utah. He shot the 3. They was pissed off at him. But hey, I like it though.
I like
Forget
it too.
that.
It's just if they lose, of course, people gonna throw that back in their face. But I mean, if they talking and backing it up, I got no problems with
They
it.
backing it up, man. And I don't even like the whole like don't shoot don't keep scoring at the end. Let the time. Nah, fuck that. Play defense. My bad. I didn't mean to nah.
Hey, bro, we've been cussing all day. We good, bro.
Nah, man. Heck with that, man. Nah, play some defense to the buzzer, sound or whatever. Goes to zeros. And, all that happened, and then, oh man, I know MPJ got stuff going on, but it's just it's so wrong how he gets up for every game or every series versus the Lakers. He wants to go out there and go 6 for 6 for 3, 8 for 8 for 3. But when it's time to play, a different squad, terrible, horrible. He was horrible this series. But yeah, nah. It's almost as time we have a conversation about Denver. Whenever they play like a top 3 seed, they always lose. Like if you go back and look, they always. I know I think they beat the Clippers. That's the only
It's a stat that I don't think Jokic has beat a team in the playoffs that's won 50 plus games. Everybody else he beats. Whenever he plays a 50 plus win team in the playoffs, he's lost every single series.
And most of the times the series that they win, it don't be it don't be a top 3 seed. The only seed that they beat that was a third or second seed was that Clippers team, man. That's the Clippers or whatever. But it's almost having a conversation about them. So you got that going, and then Mike Malone, he's just such a sore loser, and it's like, bro, like you was talking all that mess, last year, Lakers not this, Lakers not that, the whole season is talking trash, and then at the end of the game, you want to be a sore loser and not talk down on the reporter or whatever. But I'm actually loving the what's it called? What's the word? The parity or the party, whatever it's called. What's that word?
In the league.
Parity in the league. 6 years in a row now. Been it's gonna be 6 different champions. I like it, man. I love it. So
man, talk about the parody, dog. Because I mean, it sucks because you really can't appreciate greatness until after the fact when you just look back at certain aspects, man. Forget the BS. Everybody been talking about it on Twitter. Man, do y'all realize how crazy it is that Braun went 8 straight years to the finals? Obviously, he didn't win all the finals, but he was playing the greatest team ever assembled, arguably. I say they're the greatest. Some old heads will still say, "Oh, 96 Bulls." Warriors with KD are waxing them. I don't care what any old head trying to talk about in that scenario, but it was very it was very prudent in yesterday's post-game press conferences. Malone said it and Murray said it. They just won the finals last year. They're in year 2 of the back-to-back. Obviously, the target is now on their back. They're no longer the hunter, they're the hunted. Oh, well, we went into June, obviously, so we got the shorter off season, and then we kind of just got worn out. We ran out of gas by then. This is just the second year. People talking about, well, the East was weak when Brown was doing it. Y'all realize this man was playing 9 to 10 months of basketball every single year for 8 straight years and winning every single time, running through anybody y'all threw up against the East. And you can talk about his later years with Cleveland. Well, there was no competition, but you can't forget that he also went through the Paul George Pacers, the Derrick Rose Bulls, the Hawks when they were a decent team, were winning 60 games a year, but they weren't ever remembered in history because Braun was smacking them when it came to the playoffs. Toronto, who won a championship the year after Braun left the East and stopped owning them in LeBronto. Like, this man was literally single-handedly just punking all of them. So yeah, people be like, "Well, the East was weak." No, they had Hall of Famers in the East, future Hall of Famers. They had superstars. It didn't matter. LeBron was punking them and doing it every year. And this is, I'm think 6 of those 8 years were in his 30s. So regardless of what you want to say about the East being weak like that, you just see it now when you have the Nuggets make comments like that. Well, we were gassed. You were gassed in year 2. Like, come on, man.
come on, bro.
Miss me with that. Be like, y'all were supposed to go all hype back to back. Y'all feel like y'all the better team, and y'all's excuses that y'all were gassed.
That's crazy. That's a
That's
crazy excuse.
crazy. That's crazy. More
It-
more respect to what Bron and Curry were able to do. Curry was able to do for 5, Bron for 8. Like now y'all realize like, oh, that shit not regular. What they
it's
did,
not
like
regular.
it's not regular at all. Like what are we doing here, man? Like just appreciate greatness while we still got it, because it's literally probably 1 to 2 more years of it, if that. But yeah, no, that was crazy. Um, I do think it's funny that all of Denver's role players seemingly, while they couldn't miss versus the Lakers, the same shots they got versus Minnesota, where you think, oh shit, there goes MPJ open down the stretch, 3 minutes to go. Lakers, that's not even touch the rim. It's nothing but net every time it's going up. Brick. Oh shit, they left Murray. Here go big game Murray. Shit. Brick. Jokic at the end of shot clock
Jokic, yeah.
with the over the head heave. You thinking, oh, here we go. He making that brick. They couldn't get it done. People were talking about because Murray finished with I think like 35, and Ant post game was like, I had him in handcuffs, and people were like, well, he had 35 and Ant had 16. Well, if you watch the game and don't look at the box score, because that's the main problem with NBA media these days. When I think at halftime the score was like 53-38, Denver, if I want to say. Jamal Murray didn't score again until it was 85-80 with 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. And that was because Anthony Edwards was locking him up that whole time. So when you watch the game with context, yes, he did have him in handcuffs for literally like 18 minutes of actual real game time. And while he was off on the other end, he shut down Murray. Cat picked up the slack on the other end. Jaden McDaniels picked up the slack on the other end. They got the job done, man. So stop with all the BS excuses. Stop with the we're tired, we were fatigued. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. Don't nobody want to hear, that it's different being the hunted instead of the hunter. Y'all lost 3 games at home as the defending champs to a 22-year-old led Minnesota team who hadn't been to the conference finals since '04. You got to just tip your hat. They came into your trap, took over your trap, walked in your house, kicked their feet up on the couch, and told y'all last to make y'all a sandwich, and y'all made that shit. So props to Minnesota. I was
It's
I was re-
crazy.
I was really afraid, bro, because I went on INISPod after they went up 2-0, and I'm telling everybody, throw money on Minnesota winning it all, man. They got it. And then they lost 3 straight, and I was like, damn. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't meant to be, but they got it together. Not to mention game 6, 50 piece, a
50
50
piece.
piece, and then you go back game 7 and blow a 20-point lead, the biggest blown lead in game 7 history. Oh yeah, you put the diamond tester on Jokic. Diamonds. It's looking a little fake right now. We was trying to put him in some conversations that it was
We
probably a
did try to
little
put
too
him
early,
too early, yeah.
and we got to pump the brakes. And now it was on first things first earlier. Him and Giannis are literally like in the same boat. Like I think Jokic is 44 and 36 in his playoff history. Giannis is 43 and 36. They both have Giannis has 2 MVPs, 1 Defensive Player of the Year. Jokic got 3 MVPs. They both got the Finals win, Finals MVP. Both got the same amount of conference Finals appearances. And Giannis has more NBAs and more All NBAs and more All Stars. So the crown for whose era this is up next is still very much up for grabs. And one of the young guys is going to join the race within the next month, whether that be Luka, Ant, Hallie, or Tatum. One of them's joining that race right there. They just won't have the MVPs to go with it, but I'm sure that's to come. So, like I said, man, Denver, cut the excuses. Don't nobody want to hear that bullshit. Shout out Minnesota. Shout out Ant.
That that
Talk that
game
shit. Talk
that
that
game
shit.
it shows that Mike Conley matters a lot.
Thank you,
He
bro.
Juan
Thank
definitely said
you
he
need a
matters,
system point
like
guard.
it was night and day because game 5 you can just tell like they was missing him, like they was missing like a guard to. I mean, they had to bring up the ball most of
And
the time, and
that's not what he's comfortable doing as of right now in his career.
it's not so. Yeah, yeah. So definitely Mike Conley, game 6 definitely showed like they need him.
It's just crazy how everybody was talking about Denver being a potential dynasty team. And I look at them now, making excuses for everything. Oh, my elbow hurts. Oh, this and that. Oh, I ain't played since June. Oh, blah blah blah. Then you got Mike Malone, the press conference, cussing out the reporter, talking about dumbass question. Like, bro, chill. Like,
Lame.
that's their
Lame.
job, bro.
Yeah.
Him and Jamal Murray really
Yeah,
showed
bro.
they
Jamal
both
Murray,
kind of
he got
clown.
saved too many times, bro. Because from throwing a heating pad on the court to talking
They
about
they some
then
sore
then he
winners, bro.
bro
I,
then he was acting petty talking about when they was saying like, oh, how injured. He said who? He said, oh, my elbow and it did anything. Like, he saying stuff like that. I'm like, come on. I didn't. And was like, all right, bet. I ain't do nothing here. All right, bet. I'm gonna show you what I can do for this 18 minutes. Then
yep.
nothing.
So
Crazy, bro.
hey man, and shout out Jaden McDaniels too. Ant tried to tell us we
Hey,
laughed at him. He was right. I
we
gotta
got
give it to
KD. We got
we
Jaden
got Jaden
McDaniels,
McDaniels.
man.
We got Jaden McDaniels, man. Hey,
We
I'm a
certified too, though.
believer. This Minnesota Dallas series is gonna be absolute cinema. I can't wait. But yeah, man, it's finally happening. We've been talking about it all season long, but the crown is finally there for the taking for one of the young guys. One of them is going to get to cement their legacy within another month. I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Chris, do you want to touch on anything in this Denver Minnesota series before we do move on to the last and final series of the second round? All right. So as y'all know, Swan, die hard Dallas Mavericks fan. As y'all know, Chris, diehard OKC fan. OKC started off game one, whooped their ass, and this where I like Luca and Ant because they both gonna talk their shit regardless. There was a clip from game one, Thunder up 30, and they pan to Dallas bench,
Stop.
and you see Luca over there laughing with Kyrie, and it was very similar to like when Devin Booker and the Suns went up 3-2, and they were laughing at Luca, and Luca was like, "Oh, you like to talk when you're up. Well, you don't talk when you're down." And then you remember what happened in that series. Dallas comes back game two, dub. Game three, dub. Then they blow game four completely to take a 3-1 demanding series lead. But then they bounce back. Game five, game six, dub. I'm gonna pass it to the losing side first. Chris, talk about what went wrong for your OKC Thunder. What moves you got to make to be back in this spot and be even better next year? Because you seen it up close and personal. So give us your in-depth expertise as the OKC diehard.
What went wrong? I mean, what went wrong and what we got to do is the same boat. Everybody know we need a true dominant big that can rebound, um, and just kind of make be take up space in the paint. Like I mean, we saw it in the first round with New Orleans. Like Valanciunas, we let him get so many easy buckets. It got to the point where I think it kind of became our game plan. Like, okay, let Valanciunas cook, take up Tom, and we'll just go score threes on the side of the court. And then when it came to Dallas, then you got Gafford. He's just like, even if he's not scoring, he's getting rebounds. Same with Derek Lively, which is the complete heartbreaker because literally the other day Lacey had sent me the post that they just made about how we had drafted him but traded him to Dallas for the Kingston pick. So I remember when that happened because I was like, oh, we finally got a big, and it's like, oh, he's going to Dallas, and I'm like, okay. And then we get Casey, and it's like, why? Why did we need Casey Wallace? We already have a whole bunch of young guards. Like, I don't understand. So that hurts. Then Chet got hurt. Why the fuck you bite me? Sorry.
That's a blooper.
I'm sorry. I just reacted. Yeah, get down, weirdo. So yeah, I mean, what went wrong? What we need to do is it's the same conversation. We didn't have any presence in the paint. We got out rebounded. I want to say every single game that we at least lost. So yeah, but that's how it was last year too. When we played the Timbs in the play-in. Same
Well, I
difference.
was gonna say that's. I mean, I think it's a testament to y'all's team and coach, whether you like for me to say that or not. But I didn't even realize y'all were third worst in rebounding all year. So the fact
Yeah,
y'all was
we probably
even
yeah.
first place in the West with that as a stat is crazy in itself. And y'all the second youngest team in the league. That's crazy. But yeah, it's definitely got to go get a 5-man, whichever 5-man that may be. I don't know. Pick your poison there. You want to go draft one because they're cheaper. You want to spend a little bit of money to go get one via trade or sign a free agent. I don't know. I mean, y'all did get Biz Magbiama, but that obviously never panned out. I don't think.
Like, what was
I
that
don't think
even
I ever
about?
seen. I don't even, ever think I seen him or Hayward on the court for real. Um, but yeah, at least I would say the one bright side SGA playoff hooper. I mean, he
Yeah, he
came
played
and did his
well.
thing. It's not like you can say he didn't show up in the playoffs. Like he if anything he elevated his game. The role players, like I said, y'all are young, so it's a good experience. They'll definitely take that and learn from that, and then hopefully stay healthy, build on it next year. But to the winning side, go ahead and take your victory lap, Swan, because you said it first on here. Mavs and 6. Go ahead. He over here cheesing hard.
Nah, so the things that went right, um, I would say our role players. Obviously, you know, a lot of people on social media was on Kyrie. Even we was on him at one point. Like, take over the game, but actually, like sitting down and actually watching the game, he sacrificed, the points and everything else just to set everybody up and to defend. But he said when he first came to Dallas, he wanted to be committed to defense, and like later in his career, like he want to be known not only for scoring, but like actually being like somewhat okay defender. And he actually proved that, seeing like his matchups and everything, he was doing his thing. Obviously, like I want him to score more at times where Luka was, in foul trouble or getting hurt. But that's when you have your role players like PJ Washington having like one of the best, I'm not even trying to sound like a glazing person, bro, but like he had probably one of the best series for a role player for somebody who never been to playoffs in general at all. And then, excuse me, you had Derrick Jones Jr. Derrick Jones Jr. just come in and just take over like out of nowhere. And he's a journeyman. He done been with Chicago, Miami, just to name a few teams. Um, then you have Derek Lively, like Chris said, that's what go to OKC. We made that trade. He come in as a rookie and dominating when Gafford getting foul trouble. He getting the clutch rebound and the clutch points, the putbacks. That says a lot, especially for somebody who's young and rest in peace to his mother. But he was going through a lot personally. So for him to put that on his back and just take over as a rookie, that says a lot. Um, I feel like in a lot of things went serious. I feel like obviously like Luka started off, rocky, his shooting splits wasn't right. He was still dealing with the knee issue. But like once I think it was like game 4, maybe game 4, yeah, he got into the shooting motion and started taking over, like having triple doubles and everything. I think the one big factor in this series, though, besides PJ Washington, as I stated, it has to go with Derrick Jones Jr. and Derek Lively. Like I said, the both Derricks, they both took over and did their things in respectful roles. Without them, we don't know where the series go. Cause we, like Chris said, OKC was in the bottom third of rebounding, and that trade that Dallas made to bring in PJ and bring in Gafford, a lot of people was like grading it like a C or a D. Same with the Kyrie trade, but then everybody know, like, as me being like a Dallas Mavericks fan, we never had a center like that since Tyson Chandler. Like, we never did. We tried it. We tried out with DeAndre Jordan, it didn't work out. We tried out with Brandon Wright, it didn't work out. We had a few centers, Samuel Dallenberg, for God's sakes. It didn't work out with no center we had. So, and then at one point we put in Dwight Powell at the center. Like, if you look at that 2022 Western Conference Finals roster, that roster was really poor. Like, they weren't supposed to make it that far. Outside of Jalen Brunson, that roster was really sorry. Like, we had Dwight Powell starting at center. Then you bring it in
Davis
Reggie Bullock.
Bertans,
Yeah. Dave Bertans. Who else was it?
Maxi Kleber.
Reggie Bullock. Like, we had them our starters. Like, nobody was supposed to. We weren't supposed to go that far against a Phoenix team who just came off the finals. And so now you look at this roster now, like alongside Kyrie, you have like defenders with PJ, Derrick Jones Jr. It looks way better on paper. They're not like big name players compared to everybody else, but they play their role to where they can play. It's like that's why I say this run feels like 2011 all over again, because even though we had former All-Stars on that 2011 team, they were past their prime for one, and then we had a lot of role players that played better than the starters, like how they did in this series. You had JJ Barea, Deshaun Stevenson, everybody else like that. Rodriguez Bobois, yeah, players like that playing. Ian Mahinmi, yeah, players like that playing way better than the actual starter. And they're role players. Nobody knew who they were. That's the same thing here. Like a lot of players, like young kids, they're not gonna know who these players are. Like they may know like as a true Maverick fan, but as a casual, they're not gonna know who they are compared to like a Kyrie and a Luka. And so they coming in playing better than them. The role players playing their role. So that's what made it better. Really, the role players are literally playing their role.
That's what wins championships. So props to them.
Yeah.
I guess before we kick it into conference finals talk, I just want to give Cam Sanders a chance for a reconciliation. Cam, I'm gonna ask for all of us on behalf of I Need a Sports podcast. Would you like to say an apology to Luka Doncic?
For what?
You know, for your hate crimes against the man, saying he can't win.
He ain't
Before-
won you. He ain't-
Well, I know he ain't won
I
yet,
do-
but
I
I'm
do
just
respect
saying.
that.
I just want to give him a chance because I'm about to spit some facts that might persuade him. You don't want to apologize?
No.
Okay, man. I'm sorry, man. I get it. You try to say he's Harden or whatever because their play style is similar. You can't win like that. But he's honestly like the anti-Harden. Dude came into the league killing it. Every playoff series he's been in, he has been the underdog. And now he's advanced to the conference finals for the second time. This time he has a much better team around him, but like Cam just stated, or Swan just stated, that first time he made it, you can't even name some of those players that were on that roster, and he carried them there. He's now beat the number 1 seed twice. His first playoff game ever, I think he had 42, 9, and 8 versus the Clippers to go along with the game winner. He has the second highest points per game in playoff history behind Michael Jordan only. When he gets in the playoffs, he only plays better. As we're with Harden, obviously we call him a playoff choke because what he does in the regular season significantly drops off come playoff time, and he has a lot of playoff flungers. Luka just had his worst playoff series ever for him statistically. He averaged 25, 11, and 9 on 36% shooting from 3. Like, the dude is a dog.
No,
You got to give it to him.
no. He's better. He's better than Harden. Like he's making shots more than Harden did. I'm just saying, like the play style is the same. That's why I'm saying like his play style, not gonna be able to win like that. That's the only thing I'm saying. I mean, the stats are there for sure. I'm
That's what I'm
saying
saying, though. But
the
if
play
you could
style.
play efficient with the play style, I don't know, man. We finna find out.
We'll find out. We'll find out, man.
See, me and Cam got money. We got money on the series, bro. So
I was just finna get it. So let's move into it. Western Conference Finals.
Let's go, man. I'm ready.
I need